What's up, everybody? Fidel speaking here. Today, beautiful day in Cali, and I figured what a better day to do a more in-depth review of my 1969 Oldsmobile Cutlass. Now, you guys seen this car a couple of times in some videos. Me and my friends did a couple of things on it. We changed the shocks on it. We did a little video on daily driving an old car and so on. And some of the guys who follow me on Instagram saw us swapping a transmission on this thing. So it's, you know, it's been a great car. I've had it for about 2 years now, and every day I drive it and I don't get bored of it. I love it, guys. Driving to work, it's always a blast. So some of the things I wanted to point out is the interior, go a little more in depth. Some of the things I've done to this car and things that I want to do in the future of this car. So we'll jump right into it. So I said let's tackle the first thing, which is paint job. Now, I've gotten a lot of heat from a lot of people that, oh, you know, it needs a decent paint job, you know, it looks crappy and so on. But this is the thing, guys. Like, when I bought the car from the previous owner, it used to be gray, and it was a very light gray with the black. Actually, you can see it here in the hood. It used to be this kind of gray, and then the whole car was gray, and then it had these black stripes on it. Now, don't take me wrong, it looked cool, it looked sinister, people digged it. But this is the thing, guys. When you drive a car that somebody else built and somebody else made it look like that, you're driving somebody else's vision, you know, somebody else's work and car and so on. So I wanted to make it look like my car. Oh, there's a DeLorean over there. I wanted to make it look like my car. So me and my buddies just grabbed some cans from Walmart and give it a super ghetto slash cheap paint job. But the idea was just making it look different from what the guy had it, and I chose green. I did a poll on Instagram, black or green, and people, surprisingly enough, wanted to see it both ways, black or green, either way. So that was a 50-50. I called the last shot. I said, let's do a green car. Also, I apologize if it's a little windy. I tried finding a spot with walls, so I didn't run into that issue, but it seems like it's making it worse. But whatever, we'll work with it. So yeah, we got the green paint job in there. As you can see, again, it's super ghetto and it's running down and so on. But I've been known to drive old beaters, and this is not the first time me and my friends do a ghetto paint job on the car. It just, you know, it gives it character. In my opinion, of course. So let's see what else. So now that we covered paint job, it will get a paint job, guys. Eventually, I promise there'll be a paint job on this thing, but not anytime soon. There's 1,000 things we need to do this thing before it even deserves a paint job. So interior, let's do the interior, guys. Let's go into the interior now. The interior is been like this ever since I bought the car. And I used to have a 1975 Nova, which I stripped down and kind of just left 2 bucket seats on the front. And this follows that same tradition. This is how it was when I got it. The previous owner claims he used to race it at the drag strip, and that's why he stripped the interior. It had different seats here. It had an original bucket seat and some plastic Jegs cheap racing seat, and I removed those for a more comfortable alternative and secure, obviously. As you can see, the bench seat on the back is completely gone. I have the bottom part of it, but not the top, so I just pulled it. We don't need a back seat. Honestly, I don't need more people riding on my car. This thing is a dead trap. But yeah, interior, I keep it very simple, everybody. Pull these out of the way. As you can see, the steer has been zip tied into place, because all I need is some music. Let's see, got these air freshener my buddy gave me, and I just put it there. It just looks kind of cool. The AC was removed from this car a long time ago, and I was dying with the fumes coming out of the engine, so we just put a plate in there and lit with it. Let's see, one of the gauges, I believe this was a clock back then, I'm not sure, but somebody put a tack in there. It's not functional. The wires are actually cut from the back, but it surprisingly has the right radius here, and it fits, so I might get a working one and swap it in there. Let's see, steering, it's not the original one, obviously. Everything has been removed, guys. All the interior trims have been removed. This thing is far from original. I threw a set of cheap speakers back there so I can listen to some music. Let's see. Somebody replaced some of the floor here. As you can see, there is just cut and welded in or glued into place, but who cares? This thing, like I said, this is not a show car. We got some gauges here. We got a cool Hirsch shifter here. It's a quarter shifter, and it came with the car, so it's at park right now. You pull it, you go into reverse. That's reverse, then neutral, then that's third, second, and first, and then it's got the lock. It's pretty badass. I mean, the idea is that you can be going from first, second, and then third, and then that's kind of it. I mean, you can just, you know, it gives you something to do with the shifter rather than just putting it on drive and just driving. Wiring is a mess down there, and we're not gonna fix it anytime soon, but that's the pedal assembly there. But yeah, guys, I mean, the interior, there's not a lot gonna be happening with this thing. It's probably gonna stay the same. The only thing I will put in here is a roll cage. We got big plans for this thing, and I really don't want to die inside this thing. So yeah, roll cage, that's probably the only change we're gonna see. If I can find the top part of that back seat, then yes, we'll put a back seat in there and people can ride there, but for right now it's only me and shotgun. Let's see. Okay, we got that. For wheels, I found a set of centerline wheels on OfferUp a long time ago, and I just bought them and we threw them in there, and what happened was that the original studs were too short, so I ran the original studs that barely fit the lug nut for like months, guys. It was so sketchy. I was babying this thing so much because I didn't want to die from like a wheel just popping out. But those are some of the things that you got to do when you daily drive your car. Just baby it until it's safe enough. But yeah, we put new studs in there. It wasn't that hard, actually. I'm running 275s on the back on a 15-inch wheel, and they don't rub at all, guys. These are I'm pretty sure I can go to like 285s or maybe 295s. I'm not sure, but you can definitely fit some big meats back here. For the rear end, so I ran the VIN, well not the VIN, but the number on this rear end, and it turns out it came out of a Buick, like a 71, and it's a 10 bolt, and it's got a posi, and the previous owner claims it's got 373s in there, and I believe it. It's pretty jumpy as soon as you hit the throttle, so there's a possibility it does have the 373s there. Two Bilstein shocks there. I need to change those bars back under there. I think they're called the traction bars. I need to change those because I can feel some movement there every time I go through a corner. Other than that, we got the Black Widow exhaust there, which I love it, guys. If you're considering getting a exhaust, I say check out the Black Widow, guys. It's a totally different exhaust note from a Flowmaster or a MagnaFlow. I like it. I've owned Flowmasters and MagnaFlows, and I like the sound of these. It's something different. Also, the springs were changed on this thing, which is what gives it that rat lifted look on the back. It lifted a lot more. I don't know, you guys, if you guys check out the older videos, you'll see it used to be dropped on the back. The old springs were sagging a little, but I really always wanted a car that's lifted a little more on the back. Gives it that 70s street machine look, and it definitely did it for me. So you see I got a lot of space now, and it's kind of jumpy on the back, but I like it, guys. Oh yeah, so if you're looking to lift your A-body, which is the chassis / platform on this car, which it would be the same as for you guys who don't know, it would be the same as Chevelle, obviously the Cutlasses and 442s, GTOs, Lamas, Skylarks, all those cars, they're the same platform, and I believe Monte Carlos and El Caminos. So if you want to change the springs on the back and you want it to be a little bit taller, what you got to do is get yourself a pair of wagon springs. So for instance, this is an Oldsmobile Cutlass. I looked up at a Vista Cruiser Oldsmobile wagon, which is the same chassis, but it was a wagon. And the idea is that the springs are designed for a higher load, so it it carries a heavier load. So with this car, it's not so heavy, so it lifts the car naturally, and they fit like stock. And there were about $80 on Summit or Jegs. Let's see, as you guys can see, I got the sticker deal working here, trying to make it look kind of like a drag car. Show you guys the other side right here. Oh, transmission. So for you guys who, I'll open this while I talk about the transmission. So for the transmission, guys, this thing originally came with a two-speed kind of like a Power Glide. So it was only 2-speed transmission, and it was very, very crappy. It was already skipping gears, and it was a bad transmission. The guy who previously owned the car beat the crap out of it, and it was very badly, and I was dailying the thing, and it was a pain on the ass. So we pulled that thing, and when I bought the car, the previous owner had a 3-speed sitting on the trunk of this thing when I bought it, and he said, yeah, I was gonna swap the transmission in there, I just never got to it. So what me and my friends did is we dropped the old 2-speed and put in a Chevy TH350 turbo 350 transmission, which is a 3-speed, no overdrive, but it's a direct bolt-on to the previous one. The only thing you do need to get if you're doing it on an Oldsmobile is you need to get an adapter plate, which you can probably see here, guys. You need to get an adapter plate, that golden plate right there in between the engine and transmission. It's an adapter plate. Now, a lot of you guys who are doing this need to think about one thing, that the flywheel needs to come out if you're going to put that plate on there, because otherwise it won't fit in there. You need to remove the flywheel. That's going to save you a lot of time. You can't just bolt it on the engine then put the transmission on there. That flywheel has to come out for sure. So just consider that when you're under the car and it's like 1 in the morning and you're trying to put in the transmission. So for engine, also I do know the cap for the oil fill is missing. I was putting some oil on this thing before I headed over here, and my dumbass put it in the air cleaner, and then I started driving away, and then I heard started like something hitting the firewall, and I'm like, man, I wonder what that noise was. Well, it turns out I forgot to put it back on there, and it's probably somewhere in the middle of the road, but I'll go to the parts store and get a replacement. So the engine itself is an early Oldsmobile 350, which is a rocket engine. Now this is the early rockets. The early 350 rockets are more desirable because the compression was higher on these, I believe. I know Oldsmobile guys are gonna correct me for sure, but yeah, this is an early block which is more desirable than the smog era blocks. And as you can see, this has typical mods. It has an Edelbrock intake in there. It's got hooker headers, and I know I have an oil leak right there. I'm just too lazy to fix it. And it's got a Holly on there. Now I did replace the Holly myself. Everything else was replaced by the previous owner. But guys, this engine is incredibly reliable. I've beat the crap out of it, and it doesn't knock or anything. It just keeps on going. It's just a turd, guys. When you want to get into the higher speed, it just doesn't do anything for you. It's really good when you're launching the car and you know it gets it up and going, but you're gonna get smoked by a Camaro for sure, or anything else with a Chevy 350. I'm sorry, Oldsmobile guys, but the engine it's just not doing it for me, guys. I'm used to like more powerful or at least higher RPM engines, and I know you can build these to create a lot more power, but it's a lot more expensive than doing it with a old Chevy 350 or anything like that. But now that we're speaking about pricing on building engines and stuff like that, some of you guys already know, but for you guys who don't know, me and my friends have picked up a 454 Chevy big block out of a Chevy Dually from 1985. So we pulled that thing, then drove it all the way back home, and I dropped it off to my buddy Dre, who is currently building the engine for me. I'm not gonna build a 455 because it's too expensive, guys. I'm doing this thing on a budget, and I know, you know, you guys are gonna be like, oh, you know, why don't you get a Chevelle, why don't you get a Camaro if you want to do things on a budget? This is the thing. I looked at this car, I loved it, I thought I really can do something cool with that thing. I like the Cutlass. But then as I started learning more about Oldsmobile engines and stuff like that, I learned that they're more of a torque producing engine, and rather than a higher RPM engine. And I know you can make them go fast and you can build them, but it costs a lot of money, guys. I looked into it, and even just finding a 455 core engine is a pain on the ass, guys. And this is the thing, if any of those things break, you need to find Oldsmobile stuff for it. So I'm just doing my own thing like everybody does with their cars, right? Chooses their car and they do what they want to do with them. And we got a smog era 454. Now the engine is a turd also, that 454 I got. My friend Dre built it stock. He replaced gaskets, seals, the rings, everything on it. And we put a Edelbrock, sorry, it's not an Edelbrock. We put a different aluminum intake in there, and we're gonna put an 850 Holly in there. And we did little things here and there, but it's not a high horsepower engine. But it's gonna produce a lot of torque, guys. And this is the thing, if later on I wanna change the top end for like aluminum heads or something more trick, then I can do it, and parts are available and they're cheap compared to an Oldsmobile engine. I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this, guys, but this is the thing. I daily drive this thing, guys. I daily drive this thing. If you guys want to see an Oldsmobile or a Cutlass sitting on somebody's backyard just rotting away, or sitting on somebody's garage with a shiny paint job and it's only taken to the car show, then yeah, let them do the 455 with the incredible high cost engine, and let them spend all the money in the shiny parts. I daily drive this thing, guys. I need it to be reliable, I need it to be cheap, and I need it to do amazing burnouts and make amazing noises. So that's the plan for it, guys. We're gonna put a 454 Chevy big block on this thing, and I'm not planning on selling this thing anytime soon. So for you guys who say, oh, you know, you're not gonna be able to sell it when you want to get rid of it, well, I'm not going to. Now now that we established we're getting a 454 big block on this thing, transmission, so we're gonna keep the existing crappy 3-speed on this thing to break in the engine and granny drive it for a couple of months until I feel like it's been broken in properly. And then it's gonna give me some time to find a Muncie 4-speed. I'm trying very hard to look for an M22, which is what you want for a big block. But I'm probably gonna find an M20 or an M21, and we're gonna put it on here, and it's gonna be a 454 with a 4-speed manual transmission. So there's a couple of things you need to do for the pedal and the Z-bar and all that stuff to turn it into a manual, but all the parts are available. Now, for you guys who don't know, like I said earlier, this is the same chassis as a Chevelle, meaning that if you pick up a Cutlass, if you pick up a Skylark, a Lamaze, or GTO, whatever the case is, all the parts for a Chevelle are available. And you guys know that Chevelles have a strong aftermarket support and backup. I mean, they sell all kinds of kits for these things, autocross, drag racing, everything is available for these chassis. So it's not a bad idea to pick one of these up, especially when they're still cheap. So yeah, guys, these are the things coming for this car. It's going to be a lot of work fitting the 454 in there, but it shouldn't be impossible. I mean, these cars came with big block stock, so it shouldn't be too much fitting a 454 in here, and should bolt onto that transmission because that's a Chevy transmission already. So yeah, big things coming for the car, guys. It's like any other project. It takes forever, but once you get it done, you got the biggest smile on your face. Well, everybody, it's been a pleasure showing you guys my car. Now, if you guys have any questions about this car, if you guys want to know anything about it, let me know. I have my camera. I have some time. It'll be a pleasure to keep you guys posted or update you guys on anything. All right, guys, so I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Now, let me know what you guys think on the comment section. Give it a thumbs up if you guys like this. We can do different videos like this on different cars. Also, if you guys are gonna give me heat about putting a Chevy engine in there, go ahead and do it. I really don't give a shit. It's my car. I'll do whatever the fuck I want to do with it. When you guys see this thing ripping to second gear and just doing a fat ass cloud of a burnout, then we'll see who's smiling at the end, guys. So I have a vision for this thing, and it's got to be right, guys. And again, if that 454 breaks, then I'll go to the junkyard and pull another 454 and we'll build it. Well, everybody, have a great day. And if you haven't yet, buy yourself an old car. You won't regret it.